Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Tonight we have a very, very, very special guest, hitting coach in the Dodgers organization. Nasiatka joins Dodgers Daily for the second time. So, hey, Dylan, I know you're extremely, extremely busy. This is your off season. I know you're picking up kids from daycare. This is a precious time of year for you kind of guys because this is really the only time of year that you have a chance to kind of sit down and unwind. So thank you so much for spending some of your time tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Casey. I appreciate it.
Okay, so let's dive right in, man. This was a really, really cool season. And one of the, I talked about last time we talked, one of the really cool parts about being at the Rancho level is that nowadays you get the draftees that come straight to Rancho now. So that's really cool. You got to work with Kendall George and JakeGelof and JoeVetrano. So let's just dive in right there. Talk about the 2023 draft class and getting to work with them.
Yeah, this was a really fun draft class, really dynamic as a group. We had some elite speed, some elite power, just some things that were fun to coach, and some intangible attributes that you really can't teach. So right off the bat, Kendall George, we really didn't think he was going to end up in Rancho. The kind of agreement this year was he was going to stay in the Arizona Complex League, and he really just kind of played himself into the opportunity. And just with the roster shuffles late in the season, the spot was open, and he was the best fit for that. So he came in, was an impact player for us immediately. He's a really special person, just special human for a player of that age. To see the maturity level out of him was something that we really didn't anticipate, but he's an extremely open individual, one that he's a great teammate, and the play on the field is everything is advertised. The speed it's amazing. I think it was maybe his first it was one of his first games with us. He went first to home on a legged out double. It was like a ball hit kind of down the line that the runner at the plate had to get on his horse to get to second base, and he scored first to home easily. And our whole dugout, it was the weirdest reaction I've ever been a part of. We just started laughing. There was no, usually there's a lot of enthusiasm and guys are going, they're fired up to get a guy to the plate. And we just started laughing. Like it was the silliest thing we've ever seen. This guy go first to home, and just incredible. So he's got a big future ahead of him, and I can't speak enough about the person that he is. The family. He comes from a great background, and he's ready to work. He does everything that you'd want. Second guy you mentioned, JakeGelof. We knew the home run king title, and it was kind of funny, like right when he got to us, some of our players that didn't really even know him, they had been with us all season. I think JoseIzarra was one that was saying it, was calling him, and JesusGaliz, they were calling him the home run king before he had hit a home run. And so Jake got to us, and really he had a lot of downtime between UVA and starting with us. And so he was just kind of getting back in the swing of things. Yeah. It's a weird schedule now with the timing of the draft and our season, only having full season options other than Arizona, and getting him into games kind of quickly. So he was kind of getting his legs underneath him while seeing some good pitching. And he was able to make some adjustments, and within a couple of weeks started going and just was hitting the ball all over the yard toward the end of the season for us. Really finished on a hot streak, and he's another guy that everybody that we're going to talk about with the Dodgers organization, we bring in high character individuals, and Jake fits right in with that. He has some leadership qualities to him. He's really fun. He's a great teammate. Guys rally around him because he's so dynamic as a person. Mm-hmm. And he's learned a lot from his brother Zach, and his brother Zach's given him great advice, and you can tell the work habits that have been instilled with him from his family are there, and he's really close with his family. And then just as a player, he does everything. Like he plays a really solid third base, super dependable over there. The bat, the impact in the bat, it's absurd. You almost have to, like, during batting practice, try to set up rounds where Jake can't hit the ball over the fence because we're just going to lose all our balls. I mean, we end up with half the balls across the street because Jake's just hitting them a mile. And so he was great to add to the mix. And then the other one, JoeVetrano, that came in. Joe is a really interesting player in the sense that you look at the body and the frame and the output. It's more of a higher effort swing that we were seeing when he came in, and he hit the ball extremely hard. But it was kind of interesting, like coming in, like his best bolts were really low line drives, and ground balls. And but with that frame, he actually moves really well. Like I mean, we kind of compare him to like a linebacker because he's moving around the field as good as anybody. He moves well over there at first base. He's so dynamic. I mean, I wouldn't put it past seeing him play another position in the future. And the impact is just absurd. Man, he can hit a ball, hard. He can hit balls harder than Jake. I don't think Jake would really want to like admit to that. They had a little bit of a running competition, that's for sure. But he can hit a ball as hard as anybody in professional baseball, and he doesn't swing and miss in the strike zone as much as some of these big impact bats. Yeah. So that's something. And then I touched on the other guys, family and things like that. And Joe is a leadership. He's a leader type of personality. He comes from a background where his father was a NYPD and officer. Wow. Yeah, and just a really, really great background. And Joe is just as buttoned up an individual as you'll find. And he's really motivated. He's really motivated internally to do things in baseball, but he's motivated just as much to do it right by his family. And you can tell that about Joe. He's an exceptional individual. And so those three guys, I mean, when those guys got plugged in, it was just like new life and reinvigorated the group. And we had guys that, had already played 100 games or more when they had come in, and those guys had new life. It was like, okay, these guys are here and they're really excited to play, and they're getting everybody going. So it was really awesome.
I'll tell you another thing, your catchers were just awesome to watch. You talk about Liranzo and then JesusGaliz, who I think might be one of the most underrated. He's a guy that I think Dodgers fans need to know more about. He's just a wonderful young man. Lost his dad to COVID in 2020, has dedicated a lot of that to him, and just an extreme. You mentioned the work process many times. It doesn't get any better than JesusGaliz's work process. Then SimonReid and Jorge Puerta, your catchers were, for that level, were pretty elite, weren't they?
Oh, they're fantastic, top to bottom. So I guess we could start. The first guy you mentioned was ThayronLiranzo. Wow. Liranzo's a superstar in the making. The frame is, it's a big frame catcher. I think you can kind of comp him to a Salvador Perez type of body in the future as he continues to get stronger. What he does, that's really awesome. Gets himself into great spots behind the plate. He has great timing back there. His receiving is really good, and he throws probably better than anybody I've ever seen back there. We had him sub 1.8 pop times in game, throwing runners out
in a game.
On the bag. I mean, they were just insane. And the whole catching crew. I mean,
did you say sub 1.8 in a game?
Sub 1.8, yeah.
Wow.
In a game. Our catchers were kind of marching to the beat of their little mantra. They were saying, "Don't run on the quakes." We had a stretch toward the back end of the season where it was like we were throwing everybody out.
Nice.
So Liranzo, obviously, just his catching it's plus catching, especially for the age. He's going to continue to get better. He's a switch hitter. He's got a ton of impact from both sides of the plate. I think he hit 25 home runs for us, if I'm remembering correctly. A lot of those from the left side, but a lot of those, from the right side as well. And he's a major threat at the plate. JesusGaliz, like you mentioned, you touched on the family and that aspect, and he's a very bright kid from Venezuela. His catching came in incredible amount of steps forward this year. And so we started the season and we could see, Jesus was needed some work, and the game reps help a lot, but he did a lot before the game to get ready, and great at preparing, does a great job in the meetings with the pitcher. He studies video, and became as dependable as Liranzo, and those guys were just a great tandem for the most part during the season. With the bat, he doesn't swing and miss, like very much at all, and high contact guy who's continuing to add power, and we're going to see him with a bright future as well.
I like how he uses the middle of the field. I like that.
Yeah, no, Jesus is very like anybody that's going to pick up a lot of hits. He's going to pick up a lot of hits in the middle. He's going to pick a lot of hits to the opposite field, and he definitely he's a hit collector. So we love that about him, and we're extremely high on JesusGaliz for sure. SimonReid is another guy that he shows up to the ballpark and he wants to serve his pitching staff, do the best he can for them, and he did some great things this year for us behind the plate. Another guy that threw a lot of runners out, did a good job receiving and blocking with the bat. He's got an incredible amount of pop and made some big adjustments toward the back end of the season. Some things that he's really looking forward to taking into 2024 as well. And that's Simon. Simon is someone that he just works and works and works, and he wants to be great. And he eats, breathes, lives baseball, and he loves being a Dodger. One thing he mentioned several times to our players in the group and our staff was how proud he was to be a Dodger. Grew up a Dodger fan. He loves hearing stories about the development of our major league players and where they came from, and sharing. We shared a lot of videos and stories with him that he just loved. But he loves being a Dodger, and he is someone that is super valuable. And Jorge Puerta as well is like he's another hit collector, a guy that he's at the plate. He doesn't strike out. He's gonna work a walk. He's gonna swing at the right pitches. He's gonna get a lot of hits. And behind the plate for us, he was a big part in us winning the first half. Mm-hmm. He caught a stretch of like 5 or 6 straight days, and this is after like not catching for like a month. Hadn't caught at all. Had played a lot of left field, some first base. And so we had a couple of weeks where Liranzo and Galiz were banged up, and he stepped in and really solidified our chance at winning that first half by pulling down those 5 games, and we were able to clinch in San Jose. And he's like the MVP of that happening through that stretch because of what he did for us behind the plate and with the bat all season.
Another guy I wanted to talk to you about, I got to see him with my own eyes a couple of times in Stillwater, Oklahoma, when he played OSU and he was with the University of Texas, and that is DylanCampbell. And whenever I watch Texas play, they're really good. I think they made the national semifinals there in the College World Series. They had, of course, Dylan grew up playing shortstop and a lot of infield as a young man. And then when he got to Texas, just like a lot of guys do, kind of like Michael Bush, you just try to figure out a spot to play once you get there because they're so talented. Of course, they had Trey Faltini at shortstop, who was the All-American. So he played some right field. He played some second base, did a little bit of everything, probably mowed the grass a little bit. But, hey, I just remember watching a doubleheader in Stillwater, and I remember walking out of there going, hey, DylanCampbell was the best player on the field today, and it wasn't close. I think he bunted for 2 base hits. I think he hit a home run. I think he stole 3 bases and made a diving catch. The dynamics of everything he can do is very impressive.
Yeah, you touched on all of it. He does. He's the total package, and we had a short glimpse into Dylan this year. I think we're really looking forward to seeing him on the field for a full season. He has speed. He has some pop. He's a smart baseball player. He plays a great outfield, and he's really dynamic, versatile as a player. When he was watching a lot of games in the dugout toward the back end of the season, like he's gotten a bat in his hand. He's talking to players about, hey, what kind of adjustments you making? What are you feeling here? What do you think this guy's doing? What do you think the pitcher's throwing? Hey, I think this pitcher's glove might be here when he's throwing the fastball. He's picking up on everything. He's a baseball player, and he's a great athlete, and just a great guy as well.
Yeah, if you come from Texas and play for Coach Pierce there at the University of Texas, who was at Tulane when they got Tulane with Cody Hosey and that group when they were so good, if you play for David Pierce, you are going to be a very fundamentally sound player as well as a talent. Okay, another guy that's very exciting, WilmanDiaz. He had struggled a little bit, at least it looked like. Of course, you don't get to see the video of the complex games, but looked like he had struggled just a touch, maybe to get the offense going until this year. Got to Rancho, and boy, he just started exploding, didn't he?
He had about the best week I've ever seen in Fresno.
Yeah.
Everything was hitting the barrel of the bat, and hit a lot of homers. I think he was player of the week that week, and had some really good stretches with us, and brought a lot of energy. He's a great teammate, great person. He's messing with everybody, and he's friendly with everybody. And you're right. I mean, there's as a young prospect goes, like he's got all the tools there, and he's working to put those things together. And great defensive package. The body moves well, and he's continuing to get better with the bat.
One of the Dodgers' biggest prospects, infield wise, maybe shortstop, maybe third base, probably most definitely somewhere on the left side of the infield. RayneDoncon, I know they call him Donkey. Looks to me like he's in the process. Hey, the minor leagues, you use the minor leagues you mentioned it, Coach, to try to figure out how do you fill up that big gulp. Hey, we know you can do this. Let's see if we can get that entire big gulp filled up. Let's not remain at 12 ounce. Seems to me like he's still just trying to feel, exactly the entire mix of what's going to make him reach the potential that he has, which is incredible. Right.
Yeah, no doubt. Rain is he comes from a pretty humble background in the Dominican Republic, and he's a very squared away kid. He's very religious and very soft spoken kid, and he's really tough. Played really banged up. He got hit by a pitch in May, and really dealt with issues with that for the whole season. So we didn't really get a full glimpse, I think, of what Doncon can do. Unfortunately, dealing with that, he got hit in the back of his hand in May. But what Doncon did is he didn't let failure overwhelm him, and he continued to work on the weaknesses, and we want to keep the strengths. But he worked as much as he could, and he's continuing to do that through the off season. And we look forward to a fully healthy 2024. I mean, it was just kind of an unfortunate thing, and pitchers in the Cal League can be wild, and it's one of the downfalls of that league being so young now. Mm-hmm. You've got a lot of guys throwing really hard, and at times it can be a little bit like the complex league where, a ball goes behind your head and then one's painted on the corner. Doncon dealt with that. He dealt with that fantastically, and hopefully, we can keep him on the field for the whole season next year and see what he can do.
I was talking to SimonReid about a month ago, and I found it very interesting. Simon is a SoCal boy. He moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in high school, and he went to a school that I'm very familiar with, McKinney Boyd, there in Dallas-Fort Worth. So he teamed up as far as being roommates with SamMongelli, who went to Sacred Heart in New York City. So I thought that was a really cool mix. SamMongelli, shortstop, infield type guy, and then also JordanThompson, who is Mr. Clutch, came up with clutch hit after clutch hit after clutch hit for LSU and several for you guys too.
Right, yeah. SamMongelli is a Swiss Army knife of a baseball player. He can do it all. He looks as comfortable in the outfield as the infield. Man, he's a great athlete. Runs really well. And Sam's another guy with a great family that, he's really close with his brother. His brother played collegiate football, was I believe a punter or kicker. I feel bad that I'm forgetting which, but was a really good football player, but he's really close with his brother. He's really growth. He's got a great growth mindset, and he's trying to make adjustments now. Coming in early in the season, I think he had a little bit of maybe anxiety about or nervousness about seeing a velocity jump, and maybe he wasn't ready for that. But he's fine. He's a great athlete. The hands work. He's gonna get a lot of hits, and he's gonna steal a lot of bases, and he's gonna do a lot of great things in several different positions. And he's a guy that's gonna be a huge impact guy for us in the system. And then you're right, JordanThompson's Mr. Clutch. He came up with some big hits for us down the stretch in the playoffs, and he's a guy like just like the rest of these guys that we brought in with this draft class. I think it was probably on purpose that we brought in so many guys that work well as teammates.
Yes.
And he's a fantastic teammate. He's very engaging. He's hilarious. He's working on things. He's very curious, and we worked on some different things with his swing, and it was really cool to see him. He went on the IL for a stretch, and so pre-IL, if you look at pre-IL numbers and post-IL numbers, we had worked on some stuff with his swing, and he took those right into the game and hit like 315 or something for that stretch after the IL stint. And So he's made some good adjustments already, and we're really excited for him.
Okay, I saved the last for two of I think the slickest fielding infielders in the Dodgers organization, JoseIzarra. Dodgers fans got to see him in spring training and just how slick he fields. The offensive game is coming. He had stretches to where he was very good offensively. A little bit of up and down for him offensively, though, but one of the best fielders that you will ever watch. And then SeanMcLain, didn't get to play a whole lot this year, but the Arizona State. If you watch any of his film at Arizona State and some of the time that he had for Rancho last year, he can make all the spectacular plays. Just a tremendous fielder, shortstop, Swiss Army knife type guy. So can you talk about those two? Yeah.
So Izarra's defense is it's as close to big league quality as you're going to see out of a player that age, and that's just no exaggeration on that. I mean, he's got a really good arm. He can make a play in the hole. He's got the perfect internal clock. He knows the runner's foot speed and gets the ball to first base in time. Just doesn't drop the ball. I mean, the ball goes in his glove and he makes the play. He makes the highlight play. He makes the routine play. He does it all there. And, he's figuring the offense out. He I think early in the season was a little bit of forced to be a little bit of a guess hitter, and the league threw us a lot of off-speed pitches, especially for that age, which was, out of the norm, but maybe on par for the Cal League with how well the ball flies. And so we saw a lot of off-speed pitches, and he made some adjustments, and he's really taking this time this offseason to focus on his body, to get stronger, to get more equipped for the pro game. He's definitely going to be as good defensively no matter what, and so we're excited for him to get a little stronger, and we think that it's going to correlate to some better production at the plate as well. Yeah, and then SeanMcLain is, really SeanMcLain's like almost having another coach as a player. He's really, really, really baseball smart. And there were a lot of times, he's next to me on the rail, and he's asking me, hey, why is this guy doing this right here? Why is this pitcher? Hey, that pitcher just threw that pitch. That was the wrong pitch, wasn't it? And he's making comments like, kind of critiquing and just looking at analyzing the game. But he's very fundamentally sound. We didn't get a great full look at him, and it was a tough year for him. But 2024, we're looking forward to getting him on the field for a full season as well.
Buzzword going around baseball nowadays, the word you've used it 2 or 3 times tonight, the word dynamic. What is that? A dynamic offensive player. What does that mean to you?
A dynamic offensive player. I mean, we're looking for guys that move the ball forward when they swing. We're looking for guys that swing in the strike zone, and we're looking for guys, hopefully that impact the ball a little bit. And we're not trying to put the cart, before the horse. We understand, and what we really want is we want a hitter first, and learn to be a hitter first. The impact comes after. It's really hard to do that in reverse, but if we can push that message as much as possible to our guys, and it's just kind of what we're about. We're about creating ball players, and we're about seeing these guys pick up hits when the situation is the toughest, when the pitcher throws his best pitch, and we're looking for guys that understand how to take an at bat, how to swing at the right pitches, where to look, and how to go about all of that, and be smart about their studies before, so we're pushing that at the lowest levels of our system, and it's really it's paying off at the low A level, and it's especially paying off hopefully as these guys graduate levels and move up.
I ask everybody who is either playing for Shoe or coaches with Shoe, I ask this question every single time. You ever see him out of uniform?
I have. Yes, I have seen Shoe out of uniform. Shoe is a extremely classy dresser. Yeah. And so if he's out of uniform, he's dressed in something that is like, he could be going to like a really fancy dinner. You're not really sure, he could be going to a real nice dinner. He could be going to a church. He could be going somewhere that folks are going to be wearing nice clothes to. But I have seen him out of uniform, and I've definitely seen him in uniform a whole lot more than I've seen him out of uniform, though. And so I've seen those baseball pants on in a hotel. I've seen him, in uniform quite a bit. And but shoes the best. Yeah.
I was talking to Patrick Copen a couple days ago, and he said, "Yeah, I saw Shoe, and he had all these nice clothes on. We were going. I think you guys were going to your first round of playoffs, Modesto, I think it was." And he was in these nice clothes, and then we got on the bus about 3 minutes later, and he was in his seat, and he was already in uniform. It was like he went into a Superman booth and just changed right there in that Superman booth into his uniform. So I love asking that question. So, hey, Coach, Dylan, I appreciate you joining so much. Second time I've had a chance to talk to you again. I know your time off in the off season is precious to you guys, so anytime that you give some of that back to Dodgers Daily, trust me, I really, really, really appreciate it, and so do Dodgers fans.
Yeah, of course, Case. Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me on, and it's always fun to talk about our players. Like I said, we've got so many great personalities and players and guys with a lot to bring to the table. That's a lot deeper than baseball, and so it's just so much fun to talk about these guys, and I appreciate it.
And by the way, I have stolen your big gulp thing, and I have used it a million different times and given you credit not every time. I love that big gulp.
I love it.
That's
I love
awesome.
it. That's the goal.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Dylan, thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Casey.